Hola. So today we have the same story as last week. I didn't update the story to include what we talked about in class, though the word wall is a little bit different to include those words. And I'm going to read the story in English this time. So if you haven't watched the previous review video, please watch that first. Listen to the story in Spanish. And then you can choose to do the Flipgrid if you want by following the link. And do that before you listen to the story in English if you want. If you want to hear the story in English first and then do Spanish later, whatever, it's your choice. But I just wanted to give you like a spoiler alert in case you wanted to do Spanish first. So here we go. We know a lot of information about George, the star of the story of our Spanish class. We know that George was from Berlin, but wasn't there. He was in California, in the store that was called Target. We know that he was in Bummerville, California, with a mosquito that was very important. The mosquito was very important because he was the president of all the mosquitoes of the world. There were 6 mosquitoes in all of the world, and there are still 6 mosquitoes in all of the world as well. The president of the mosquitoes was called Darwin. Some people thought that Darwin was more important than Jimmy, the elephant with me, because in their opinions, Jimmy wasn't more important than Darwin because he was only the secretary of the elephants of Africa. But I had another opinion that was that the elephants were bigger than the mosquitoes. That's why Jimmy was more important than Darwin, because the mosquitoes were so small. But it wasn't a problem because the different opinions were good and important. Darwin and George were with other mosquitoes in the mosquito section in Target in Bummerville, California. But the other mosquitoes were not important mosquitoes because they were normal mosquitoes. They were called Darwin 2 and Darwin 3. They weren't from Iceland, but Darwin was from Iceland. He was from Iceland, but he was with George in California and wasn't in Iceland. He was in Iceland before he was in California with George and the other 2 mosquitoes that were normal and unimportant. George had a problem because there weren't any Coca-Colas in California, and George wanted one. Darwin had a problem too because he wanted a big Snickers, but he didn't have it. There weren't big Snickers in Target, neither were there Coca-Colas for George. So George went to Chicago because he thought there was a possibility there might be extra Coca-Colas in Chicago for him. When he was in Chicago, he said to a girl, "Hello, girl. What's your name? How do you call yourself? What's your name?" The girl said to George, "Hola, my name is Gertrude. What's your name?" George said to Gertrude, I'm called George, and I have a problem, Gertrude. I want a Coca-Cola, but There weren't extra Coca-Colas for me where I was, California. Do you have an extra Coca-Cola for me? She said to him, I'm sorry, George. I have a Coca-Cola, but I don't have an extra for you. I only have my own Coca-Cola. George was sad because of that, and still he didn't have what he wanted. But George liked Gertrude because he thought she was nice and good. Even though she didn't have an extra Coca-Cola for him, he knew that he knew that she didn't have the fault. It wasn't her fault. She simply didn't have extra Coca-Colas, and she wasn't a bad person. George knew that she had a big family, and he thought that was something great. George liked that because he had a family that was only normal. He didn't have a family as big as Gertrude, nor Bo neither. He thought it was very interesting that she had a big family. George only had a dad, a mom, 2 sisters, and 3 grandparents. He had 4 grandparents, but later he only had 3 because he didn't have one of his grandmothers. He was sad, or it was sad for George. After Gertrude said that she didn't have a Coca-Cola for George, he went to Brooklyn, New York, because possibly there might have been Coca-Colas, extra Coca-Colas for him there. When he was in New York, he was a little bit happy because there was an extra Coca-Cola there, but he wasn't completely happy because he still didn't have it. Maybe he will get it. Maybe he will grab it. We know interesting information about Gertrude, the girl that was in Chicago with George. We know that she had a big family. She had, and she still has. She had a family with a lot of people. She had a dad, a mom, several siblings, grandparents, and aunts as well. But we don't know anything. We don't know nothing about the grandparents and the aunts. About Gertrude's grandparents and aunts. We only know about the other people in her big family. In our story, there was very interesting information about her sisters because she had a sister that was only 0.5 of a person. Gertrude had 3 normal brothers, and 4 normal sisters as well. But one of her several siblings wasn't a complete person because it was, it was a baby sister. Her baby sister only had 1 year. She was only 1 year old, and she didn't have enough years. She wasn't old enough to be a complete person. There was a limit that said when a person had less than 2.5 years, when a person was less than 2.5 years old, then They weren't a person, or then he or she wasn't a complete person. But her baby sister only had 1 year. Her baby sister was only 1 year old. So because of that, or for that, Gertrude had an incomplete person in her family. After 1 year and 7 months, her baby sister will be a complete person. Celebration for Gertrude and her baby sister. Right now, we know that Gertrude is a very interesting person because she is the expert of the order of the universe. She knows all the information of the universe, and she knows all of all time. She knows everything about all of time. We'll say it that way. It's incredible. There's a very important girl in our story. She is called Beyonce 2. She has her own story, and it's different than George's and mine. Beyonce 2 didn't want a Coca-Cola nor a small potato because she had a lot of Coca-Colas and a small potato. But even though she had them, she didn't want them. She wanted an igloo, and there weren't any igloos where she was. She wasn't in a place where there were igloos. She was in Menominee, Wisconsin. She was alone, and she wasn't happy with that. Even though she was alone in Menominee, Wisconsin, she wasn't completely alone because she was in the club of the people with problems with us. All of the people in the story had problems and were in the club. We were in the club of the people with problems, but Beyonce 2 didn't like the club because she didn't want her problem. She wanted an igloo. So, because there weren't igloos there in Menominee, Wisconsin, she went to another city. She went to Mexico City. She wasn't from Mexico City, nor was she from Menominee, Wisconsin. She was from Casper, Wyoming, but she didn't go to Casper because she knew that there wasn't a possibility that there possibly were extra igloos in Wyoming. So she only went to Mexico City in Mexico. When she was in Mexico City, she went to a store. She went to 7-Eleven because she thought that possibly there were igloos there. But there was only a boy. She went toward the boy and she said to him, "Hi, boy. My name is, I'm called Beyonce 2. How are you called?" He said to Beyonce 2, "Hello, Beyonce 2. I'm called Roberto. How can I help you?" Beyonce said, "I have a big problem. I don't have an igloo, but I want it. Do you have extra igloos for me? Or possibly are there extra igloos here in the section of igloos, in the igloo section?" He said to her, "Sorry, Beyonce 2. I don't have an extra igloo for you, nor for me neither. There aren't extra igloos here in the igloo section neither, because they are all with other people." Beyonce too thought that Roberto was a very nice boy. So she liked him a little bit because of that. But she didn't like him a little bit neither because he didn't have an extra igloo for her. It was a problem for her because because she had a lot of good things. She had a lot of Coca-Colas, she had a small potato, and she had a small family. She liked her things, but she really, really wanted an igloo. She liked the people in her family, but they weren't igloos. She liked her dad, her mom, and her sisters as well. She liked her different family. She had a family with some people. She had a mom and a dad, but she had a different sister. One of her sisters was 0.5 of a person because she only had 2 years. She was only 2 years old. So, according to the limit that says that when a person has less than 2.5 years, then he or she is not a complete person. He or she is only a baby. Her sister was not a complete person, but after a little bit more than 6 months, she will be a complete person. Celebration for her. Even though she had a good family, a lot of Coca-Colas, and a small potato as well, she didn't have what she really wanted, an igloo. Also, because there were no extra igloos for her in Menominee, Wisconsin, nor Wyoming, nor Mexico City, she went to another city. She went to Queens. It was not the same Queens that was in New York. She didn't go to the same city as George. She didn't go to the same country as George. She went to the UK. She went there because there was a possibility that possibly there was an extra igloo there for her. When she was there, the expert of the Order of the Universe said to us that there were 2 extra igloos there in Queensland in the UK for her. But the expert thought about the igloos of all time. And when the expert said to us about the igloos in Leeds, really there were 2.5 igloos because one of the extra igloos was for a cat. So there was a small igloo. So it was a small igloo, and there were 2.5 extra igloos in Queens. Maybe she will grab it or get it. Right now, we don't know, but it is a big possibility. I had a problem too. I didn't have what I wanted neither. I was with an important elephant in McDonald's in Boise, Idaho, in the United States. The elephant was important because he was the secretary of all the big elephants in Africa. There were 5 elephants that were from Africa, and Jimmy was their secretary. Era su secretario. But Jimmy wasn't in Africa with the other big elephants of Africa. He was with me in McDonald's in Boise, Idaho. Jimmy was from Africa, and I was from Menominee, Wisconsin, where Beyonce Dose was. I had a problem with McDonald's because they did because I wanted a small potato, but McDonald's didn't have small potatoes. They only had French fries. I didn't want French fries. I only wanted a small potato. Because there weren't extra small potatoes for me there in McDonald's, I went to another place. I didn't go to another city because there were small potatoes in Boise, Idaho, but not in McDonald's. I went to Walmart because I thought there was a possibility that there possibly was a extra small potato for me there. I went to Walmart, and when I was there, there was a boy who was called Ben. I went toward the boy, and I said to him, "Hello, boy. I am called Nathan. How are you called?" He said to me, "Hola, Nathan. I am Ben. How can I help you?" I said to him, "I have a problem, Ben. I was at McDonald's, but there weren't small potatoes there for me. I want a small potato, but I don't have it. Do you have an extra small potato for me, possibly?" He said to me, "I'm sorry, Nathan. I had a small potato, but right now I don't have it. I don't have anything. I don't have nothing. I don't have anything. I can't help you, my friend." I was sad because Ben didn't have an extra small potato for me. Because Ben didn't have an extra small potato for me. Before he had one, but he doesn't have one anymore. Even though he didn't have a small potato for me, I liked him because I thought he was a nice and good boy. He didn't have a small potato, but I didn't have a small potato, but I had a new friend. It was a really good situation for me because I didn't still have my family. I didn't have a family because my family went to another planet. I still don't have my dad, my mom, my grandparents, nor my siblings because they're not on Earth with me. They weren't on Earth with me. I still didn't have, yeah. They were in another planet with my aunts. I had 2 aunts that were in the other planet. One day, a long time ago, my aunt went to another planet because she had a girlfriend that was from the other planet. It was a very interesting situation because she was from another planet. When my aunt went to the other planet, the other people in my family didn't go there with her. After or later, the girlfriend, my aunt's girlfriend, was not her girlfriend. She was her spouse or her wife. Then I had 2 aunts that were in the other planet, that were on the other planet. Later, the other people in my family, they went to the other planet because my aunts they said to us that the other planet was a perfect place. All of the other people except me, they went over there. They went there. And after, I was all alone and sad. But when when I had my new friend Ben, I was more happy and I was not as sad as before. Even though I didn't have what I wanted, I had my two friends, Ben and Jimmy, and I was happy with that, or I was happy because of that. Because I didn't have an extra small potato for me. Oh, sorry. Because there wasn't another small potato for me, an extra small potato for me, in McDonald's nor Walmart neither, I went to Costco. I went to Costco because there was a possibility that possibly there was a small potato, an extra small potato for me there. Right now, I am in Costco. There was another girl with a complicated situation. The other girl was Cindy. Cindy was from London, but she wasn't there. She was in Wynot, North Carolina with 3 penguins. Cindy and they were in Whole Foods in the penguin section. The 3 penguins were very interesting because they were called Eddie, Freddie, and Teddy. The 3 penguins, no. The 3 liked Cindy because she had a big hotel for penguins. She had a hotel for penguins and she had everything that she wanted. But because she didn't want a thing, she wasn't in the club with us, and she was sad because of that. She wanted to be in the club of the people with problems with us, but she didn't want a thing, and because of that, she didn't have a problem. She had a problem that was... she had a problem that if she was... I can't even read my own story. Tenía un problema que era que ella quería estar... She had a problem that she wanted to be in our club, but our club was the club of people with problems. If she were in our club, then she wouldn't have her problem. If she didn't have her problem, then she wouldn't be in our club. It was a very complicated situation for her and us. Her hotel had a lot of big rooms for penguins. It had 11 rooms. It didn't have rooms for people, nor cats, nor mosquitoes, nor elephants neither. It only had rooms for penguins. The last character was Bo. Bo was a cat with gray hair. He had a huge family, and he had a good owner that was called Amy. 2,399 words. Whew. All right, so that's our story in English. And you can use that to compare your understanding of the story in Spanish. And again, you're going to have the same assignment to go to Flipgrid and just record yourself retelling the story in Spanish as much as you can remember. And before we do that, let's just fill out these words. If you didn't listen to the previous live class, you might not know what mejor is. But mejor means better. And when you say el mejor or la mejor, means the best. So let me move this over here so that makes more sense. So el mejor or la mejor or los mejores or las mejores means the best. And then mejor means better. ¿Cómo se dice the or a flavor? Savor? Sí, un sabor. Había. There is or are, and was, were. I'm not gonna, okay, I'll just do it like this. Okay. So there might be is haya, and there possibly was, or there possibly were, which is really hard for us in English. Hubiera. I tripped over that every single time. Simpático. Nice. Simpática. I think, you think. Pienso is I think. You think is piensas. He or she thinks. Piensa. Pensaba. Yep. So I thought, or he, she, it thought, and then you thought. Okay. How do you say I believe, or he or she or it believes? Yeah, so creo is me, and then cree is he or she, and then crees is you. Aquí, allí, allá. Yeah. Here, there, and far away. So there, I'll just write far. Okay, so it means over there, far away, or there, far away, like another planet. So, and then together, juntos. See, todavía. Yep, means still or yet. No. So I know, say. You know. Yep. Sabes. And then sabe. And saber. Según means according to. According to. See? Okay, muy bien. So, I forgot to do my autofocus. Sorry if that was moving a lot. Again, very different video for these last 2 weeks, but our story is quite big, and I just want to take some time to really dig into the full story and just get some practice with it. So, I really recommend you using the Google Drive, and you can read the story aloud, read it in sections, record yourself reading it, retell the story in your own words. There's lots of things that you can do with this story to continue getting more out of it. So let me know how things are going, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Okay. Adios.